Here is the full script rewritten with corrected grammar and American English, with no events or length changed. The phone vibrated once on the kitchen counter. Once is never once. Once is a warning. I wiped my hands on a dish towel and read the message. The words were sharp, rehearsed. Someone else had helped her sharpen them. I could smell the lie before I finished the sentence. The room felt smaller, like it had leaned in to watch my face crack. I'm not your possession, that word, possession. A blade slipped between my ribs and twisted by someone who knew exactly where to press. I didn't breathe. I didn't pace. I didn't shout. I typed. Asterisk, I'm not your husband anymore. Don't come back, asterisk sent. The phone stayed silent for exactly 10 minutes. Then it started screaming. 67 missed calls. Her name stacking itself like a panic attack. The vibration rattled the counter, the walls, the marriage. I turned the phone face down and listened to it buzz itself into exhaustion. That was the moment, the precise second, love finished bleeding and something colder took its place. I used to memorize the way she slept, the tiny frown she made when dreaming. The way her fingers curled like she was holding on to a secret. I told myself those details meant safety. I told myself intimacy was proof. It wasn't. The signs had been there, scattered like breadcrumbs. I stepped over them because I wanted the forest to stay beautiful. The sudden privacy. The password changes disguised as security. The way laughter left her voice when I entered a room. The way my questions were answered with offense instead of clarity. Gaslighting is quiet. It doesn't shout. It whispers until you doubt your own hearing. She accused me of control whenever I asked where she'd been, of insecurity whenever I asked who she was texting. She weaponized my patience and called it weakness. I apologized for crimes I didn't commit because love taught me to be gentle with someone who wasn't being honest. The first time she came home late, she smelled different, not perfume. Adrenaline. The scent of someone who had been chosen. I noticed. I said nothing. Suspicion isn't a lightning strike. It's a leak. A slow drip that keeps you awake at night, counting sounds that shouldn't exist. She stopped sharing plans. Her phone never left her hand. It slept under her pillow like a second heart. When I asked, she smiled without warmth. You're imagining things, that sentence is violence dressed as concern. I started watching instead of reacting. Started listening without responding. I became quiet. Silence scares liars more than accusations ever will. They need noise to hide in. I learned her new schedule. The gaps, the inconsistencies. I learned the way she looked at her phone when she thought I wasn't watching, like someone waiting for permission to escape. I didn't follow her. I didn't need to. People betray themselves if you give them enough rope. The proof didn't come all at once. It came in pieces, like a body washing ashore over weeks. A receipt tucked into a jacket for a restaurant she hated. A reflection in a window. A name that appeared too often and disappeared too fast. Then came the night she forgot to log out of the cloud. I sat alone in the dark, the glow of the screen painting my hands blue. Messages loaded slowly, each one a measured breath before a punch. Asterisk, I've never felt like this before. He doesn't understand me like you do. I wish I met you first, asterisk. The words were intimate, careless, confident. They weren't written by someone afraid of consequences. I didn't cry. I felt something click into place. Pain hardened into clarity. The grief was immediate but brief, like stepping out of a burning building into cold air. I wasn't confused anymore. I was focused. Revenge doesn't begin with anger. It begins with organization. I cataloged everything, screenshots, timestamps, locations, lies layered on top of lies. I learned his name, his job, his weaknesses. Men who chase married women always have them. I smiled at her more, asked fewer questions. I became the version of myself she underestimated, the calm one, the boring one, the one who wouldn't do anything dramatic. She mistook restraint for ignorance. I let her think she was winning. Let her grow careless. Confidence makes people sloppy. They stop checking locks. They forget witnesses exist. I moved money quietly, legally. I spoke to a lawyer before she even realized I was done listening. I prepared the paperwork and waited for the right moment. Timing is everything. Revenge served too hot looks like desperation. I wanted precision. The night I sent that message, I was already finished. Her text wasn't rebellion. It was confirmation. She thought she was drawing a line. She didn't know I'd already erased the map. When the calls came flooding in, I didn't answer. I poured a drink and watched the city lights blink like nothing had changed. Power is quiet. Control is knowing you don't have to respond. She came home an hour later. The door slammed. Her keys hit the counter. Her voice cracked my name like she still owned it. I stayed seated. She ranted, accused, cried, threatened, apologized, the full cycle delivered like a performance she'd practiced in the mirror. I let the silence stretch until it made her uncomfortable. Then I handed her the envelope. Divorce papers, evidence, a timeline of her lies printed in black ink. No emotion, just facts. Facts are devastating. They don't argue back. Her face collapsed in stages, disbelief, fear, realization. He showed up 10 minutes later. She had called him. She always called him. The climax isn't loud when you're the one in control. It's surgical. I had already emailed his employer, not accusations, facts, dates, proof, company policy violations. I had already sent copies to his wife. She deserved the truth, not my sympathy. He stood in my living room sweating, realizing the fantasy had followed him home and turned into consequences. My wife watched him change from hero to liability in real time. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't insult them. I didn't need to. Watching someone realize they've lost everything is a soundless explosion. You see it in the eyes first. He left quickly. Cowardice does that. She stayed, begging now, promising therapy, honesty, anything. I walked past her and opened the door. "Don't come back," I said again. This time it wasn't a text. Aftermath is quieter than people expect. The house felt bigger, cleaner, like it had been holding its breath for years and finally exhaled. Friends chose sides. I didn't chase them. Truth has a way of settling. Eventually, she tried to rebuild the story. I didn't participate. Silence is the only boundary liars respect. I slept better, ate better, thought clearer. Pain didn't vanish. It sharpened me. It taught me the difference between love and attachment, between patience and self-respect. Revenge wasn't about destroying her. It was about removing myself from the role she needed me to play. The last message I ever received from her was short. "You didn't have to do it this way," she was wrong. I did, because betrayal isn't a mistake. It's a decision. And the moment she decided I was disposable, I decided to become unreachable. Justice doesn't always wear handcuffs. Sometimes it wears silence. Sometimes it looks like walking away with your dignity intact, while the people who lied to you scramble to explain the wreckage they caused. I didn't win because they lost. I won because I remembered who I was. And I never answered the 68th call.